Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. As the deadline for the minimum wage negotiations draws nearer, there are many reactions as regards the seriousness of the state government to achieve this new threshold. The national dailies are already awash with reactions and stories as regards some states not meeting the deadline. As it stands, 13 states have been touted to not meet this deadline. And the question is, what is the fate of the Nigerian worker and how can relevant bodies be compelled to meet this deadline?
Before now, Chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, says governors of the 36 states remain committed to paying 30,000 naira minimum wage. He also gave the assurance in Abuja after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. The governor explained that while the implementation of the new Minimum Wage Act may have started in some states, other governors are waiting for discussions on the consequential adjustments to be concluded. The governors are also anticipating a review of the revenue sharing formula in order for them to meet up with the new law.
Is a law. But as I've always said to you, a National Minimum Wage Act is not a general minimum wage review. They're two separate things. What is happening currently in states, and majority of our states have started that negotiation, is to agree what that consequential adjustment would be in the state. And as I've also said to many people who have asked me, fingers are not equal at the level of the state. So consequential adjustment may not necessarily end up being the same. It will be different from state to state. We're not going to adopt hook, line, and sinker what has been adopted between federal government and labor. That's for federal government workers. What happens in state is a different matter. But I can assure labor, as I can assure Nigerians, that no state is going to pay anything less than 30,000 naira.
Joining us now from our Abuja studio to talk about this and also look at the legal implications of the states not meeting the deadline is Olamide Adaramola, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. Welcome to the morning show, Mr.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, good morning. Let's get right into it. We're having this back and forth about the minimum wage. And some people would say the National Assembly was able to come up with 37 billion naira, or actually ask for 37 billion naira in the budget going forward. Why are we still having these issues, and what are the legal implications of this?
Yeah, good morning. You have said it. Now, the federal government has done its own part by actually implementing the law, by signing the bill into law, and making it enforceable. Now, the state government or the state governors are insisting that they cannot pay such amount of money, which is just 30,000 naira, minimum wage. Now, the question that everybody here must ask is that the governor, so to say, what is the budget in the states? What is the allocation each state are getting? Now you will discover that there is no state in Nigeria that cannot pay what the federal government and the labor have agreed on. Now, the labor union has said that if any governor that cannot pay should resign. We shall agree with that because there's a template that the labor Congress has given to each labor in each state to follow. Now you will discover that the labor union at every state level have often meet with their governors and have a consensus. However, there are some states that are still saying they cannot pay such. But my argument is that there are some states that cannot even pay the 18,000 minimum wage at the time that this law has not been implemented. So the question is, how will they be able to pay this 30,000 naira? However, the deadline is which is tomorrow, the 31st. Now we are going to see that many states will still not be able to pay the 30,000 naira minimum wage. But the issue, very fundamental, is that what step will the labor take? And the step has been stipulated in the law, in the Amendment Act, and it says that the minister must ensure the enforcement of this act. So every state must comply with the federal government. Now the issue, with the issue that a state, is not buoyant enough to pay the 30,000 naira is out of it, because the federal government knew how much is being disbursed to each state. The federal government knew the internal generation of each state. So the argument of the chairman of the government forum is not tenable, because I can remember briefly that what each governor are taking as what is called a security vote is out of it. So I want to say very categorically that each state can pay this 30,000 naira if they are willing. It is just out of willingness. Now Lagos has started paying. Now we see Kaduna pay. The Jigawa has paid. So these are the ones we are talking about. So I think that the last minute discussion with the federal government should be adhered to. Thank you very much.
Okay. Real quickly, I just want to pick your brain on this. Some states have started paying. Lagos has started paying, but a lot of people will say, hey, the atmosphere under which Lagos pays, there's also some benefits that are taken away from the workforce as regards, to be able to pay this 30,000 minimum wage. Another aspect we're looking at is what Kayode Fayemi talked about, revenue sharing, a review of that before this takes up. Is Kayode Fayemi valid in that, or is just playing to the gallery talking about revenue sharing prior to this time?
That is not the problem we are talking about. As I said, if each state governor want to pay, they can pay. But the point we are looking at is that will they actually pay? Some state governors have not been able to pay the 18,000 minimum wage.
Because the issue is that Mr. Adaramola, because they don't have the money. That's why Kayode Fayemi was talking about revenue sharing. Do they have the money and they didn't pay the 18,000 you were talking about?
No. Now you are telling me that they don't have the money, and that, what about the internal generation fund that each state are making?
How many states?
Now, if you look at each state, for example, let me give you an example, please. Yes. Now, if you look at the Kogi State, for example, now almost just quite a week ago, or 2 or 3 weeks before the election, almost 10.6 billion was released to him. Now he will come and say to us that he cannot pay such amount of money. Now, don't forget that the 30,000 naira is for just level 6. There are consequential agreements to be put in the salary scale. So it is not just that every worker. For example, we have level 14, level 7. They have their own consequential adjustment. So it is not that the 30,000 naira to be paid. It is not that when you pay 30,000 naira, and such percentage will be paid to every scale of a government worker. No, the 30,000 naira is just for the level 6 and level 7 only. So we have level 8, level 10, level this, and they have their own scale of payment, which is lesser than level 6.
Mr. Adaramola, I want to come in here.
Now, what they should do, what the government should do, this is my advice.
Okay.
This is my advice. What the government should do is to reduce the SSCs. There are some things that are not necessary that the governments are doing. There are some expenses that the government should reduce. So the government cannot come and tell, because let me tell you, sir, before the federal government can accede to the payment of 30,000 naira, before the National Assembly can jump off from 27,000 naira to 30,000 naira, they look at the policies or the allocations vis-a-vis the spending of the governors. So that is just the issue there.
Okay, Mr. Adaramola, let me come in here and let me create a clipboard of antecedents for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. A couple of years ago in this same country, we had over 15 states, or close to 10 states, that couldn't pay minimum wage. Some were even owing, I think a state was even owing for about 30 months. As at then, it was 18,000. Yes. So what do you think will change? And I'm still juxtaposing this with what Kayode Fayemi said, that there needs to be a conversation about revenue sharing, a review of revenue sharing. What do you think will change between that time and now? You talked about internally generated revenue. How many states generate a lot in internally generated revenue? When you look at internally generated revenue charts, You see Lagos and some other key states, and the states that collect 13% derivation formula. Apart from that, other states are a far cry. You know this. I'm still creating this clip. You know this, that a governor once read his own state budget and started crying after reading the budget because he said there's no amount to fund that budget. Correct me if I'm wrong on all of this.
Thank you. Now, I want to look at what Oyo State Governor just did recently. He was able to pay the backlog of about 13, months' salary arrears. And he said that they are willing to implement the consequential adjustments. In fact, as a matter of fact, they have set up the committee and that they are going to pay. Now, I want you to know that Kano State governor said earlier that there's no way they are going to pay. But when he look around, he sat down and had the committee, now he has started paying. Now, if you look at the states, I have said, I want you to look more than what we are saying here. Now, if states said they cannot pay this amount of money, now the issue is that what will be the issue is that the act that have been made, now the labor will enforce the law, and it's going to be against the issues. Now that's why the labor has said, look, go have a meeting with your labor, agree on what they can pay. Now, it is on that piece of agreement. That's why they said, look, what the labor is saying now is that go and set up a committee. Look at the sharing formula. Now, don't forget that that each of the states, wrote to the federal government on what the sharing formula should be. And so it's not a unilateral agreement of the federal government that each state should have this and what this. Don't agree with him. Now, let me put it that the federal government has increased the VAT so that from 5% to 7%, so at 7.5%, so that they can able to pay this increment. And they have also said that they are going to look at the review. They agree with Fayemi that they are going to look at the review of the sharing formula. So I think if the states look at look inward, beyond what...
go on a break and you're going to land on your points because I'm curious to know what's going to happen. Tomorrow is the 31st. But please hold on. We're still watching the morning show. Stay with us.
Right, still the morning show here on Arise News, and we're talking to Olamide Adaramola, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. So, you wanted to land on that point we're making before we went on that break.
Yes. As I was saying, I said what the federal government did was to increase the VAT from 5% to 7.5%. And the federal government assured the state government that they are going to ensure that, that they boost their internal revenue. And also, even the federal allocation, they are going to increase it. That's what they are. That's the assurance of the federal government. If you align with me, and so with the VAT being increased, then with the federal allocation, the federal government believe that they should be able to pay. Now, the federal government has paid their own, of course. Thank God for that. Now, the state government should be able to look inward and see there are some states that have started paying. So that is why the federal government that's why the Labour said, go have a meeting with your people. Agree have a consensus on how on the implementation policies so that you can be able to arrive at this. So I agree with you that the state governments need to sit down with the federal government on the sharing formula, sharing formula, which is very important. But the point is that with the step the federal government has made by increment of the VAT, and then the promise of increase of the federal allocation being given to the states, I think they should be able to at least start something. That is that's my point. Thank you, sir.
You have spoken about starting something, and my co-anchor actually makes a very fair point. If you look at the 36 states that we have in Nigeria, okay, all fingers are not equal. So if you look at a state like Lagos State that has already started paying this, we know that Lagos is the economy hub of the nation. We have businesses here. It's easier for them to pay through tax. But if you look at states like Jigawa and even states in the northeast that are still fighting insurgency, it's very hard for these states to come up with the same amounts that other states are coming up with. Now, how do we address this? Even if we're having this meeting, we have these states that cannot pay. Tomorrow is the 31st. Now, Labour has said that they will not accept a wage that is legislated into existence without negotiation, and only workers' salaries and other legitimate earnings would be acceptable. And they plan on going on, if it's not done, they are going to go on a strike in the new year. How do we put an end to this? Because it feels like a back and forth between the state government and the federal government and the workers themselves.
The Labour has said, I agree with you, the Labour has said that the state government must reduce their SSCs. Now, every state has their workers list. You cannot employ more than what you can pay. And that is what is the most important. Now, you will discover that Nigeria, we are talking about the minimum wage here. We're talking about what the least each state should pay. Now, the federal government, the state government, must look at the cumulative list of the workers in their states and look at what they can do. They cannot just come and tell us that they cannot pay because they cannot pay. Don't forget that there are governments or there are governments that has more than 500 aides in this Nigeria. What are they doing with those ones, for goodness sake? Now you are having more than 500, more than 200 aides. Now you are paid, how much are you paying them? Now the question is, are you paying them 200,000 per month? Are you paying them 300,000 per month? No. Most of them are collecting 500,000 per month, 300,000 per month. These are the things that the state government wants to reduce. I told you about the security votes that are being paid to governors. Now, which is unconstitutional, which is unedited. Now, there are state governors that are collecting 1 billion naira, 500 million naira per month. Now, those are things that have to be reduced or have to be cut off for them to be able to do this thing. There are things Ebony State government said, I know what he said. He said that, look, though it is not easy for us to pay this, but we are going to pay. Meaning that we are going to call down some things we have been doing before and all arm will be on deck. That is simple arithmetic. The state governor had to put aside most of the things that are not relevant. There are a lot of ghost workers. That's why the federal government have put on what's it called, IPPS, so that they can monitor whatever is going on in the state and the federal. So there is no state that can say that I cannot pay. Now the deadline is tomorrow, and the Labour has said that until they are going to determine which state cannot pay. Now you are going to the state, the Labour in this state, they knew the capacity of each state of their state government. They knew whether they can pay or not. So I am very sure that like the state of Ekiti, the Labour there knew whether Governor Fayemi can pay or not. Like Lagos State, though, of course, is the economy of the state. But I want you to know that if the state like Kaduna can pay, then Borno should be able to pay. Because you look at it holistically from the point of view, how many workers do I have? How do I go about it? Then there is a lot of things you need to reduce. So it's not that it's not about coming to the media and said we cannot pay this because we are no. It is that is what is called the cost of governance. As a good government, you must be able to look at it. How do I satisfy my people? Not just because you want to the federal government has raised the scale to 30,000 naira, and then you say you cannot pay. No, there are a lot of things. If you look at how even the government themselves look at how they live in the state house, you'll be surprised.
Okay.
So I believe very strongly.
Real quickly, number one, should the deadline for the negotiation be extended? Two, the next question I have for you is where do we go from here as we wrap up?
Thank you. Now, the Labour has said that on the 6th of January, being next week Monday, they are going to determine which state has not complied. Now, don't forget that they are going to look at it from, point of view of each state. They are going to justify whether the state can pay or not, and that they are going to look at it from the angle whereby, okay, what can we do? So the government, the Lagos is not going to just embark on strike to disrupt the activity of the state government. No, they are going to look at it from holistically from the ability and the capital of the state to pay. Whether a state is willing, now there is a difference between willingness and capacity. A state can be willing but may not be able to pay. But the Labour has said, set up a committee. The first thing the Labour said, set up an adjustment, a consequential adjustment committee. Sit down and look at it. So then from there you arrive at a consensus. So that from where what I'm saying is that the first thing the state government must do is to set up a consequential adjustment and see whether they can arrive at a consensus. So that I know that the Labour might still extend the deadline if the state actually set up this consequential adjustment committee. That is it.
Okay.
So a state that does not set up, then they go on strike.
Okay, we'd like to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Olamide Adaramola here, for talking to us. That brings us to the end of the show today. I'm Rufai Seni.
And I'm Sheito Atigari. Thank you for watching. You can also follow us on the social media handles showing now on the screen.